Hi, I'm Rose from In Rose's Garden. Thou you'll see my name pop up in Jesse James and such as Rosanna. I am really honored to be chosen as one of Jesse James Bead's rising stars. I am the sole owner of In Rose's Garden Custom Treasures, and I started my business in 2012, though I mainly sold locally at local farmers markets and local festivals. Unfortunately, with the COVID, all but one of my festivals were canceled this year. Though we did have the farmers market with strict COVID rules by the health department, and my last show was a Christmas show with my Artisan Craftsman Club, and we did manage to do it with, again, health department overseeing us. But because of the COVID and not being able to do festivals, I did open my Etsy shop back up, and I've been concentrating on that quite a bit. I will be making today a variation on this necklace that I'm wearing. So let's turn down and get started on that, shall we? Thanks. All right, let's get started. I have chosen to use the Tibetan Sunrise bead strand. I'm only going to use a few beads, a few of these. This large one is going to be too large for a project, so we're going to use this one as the focal. We also need some 18 gauge wire. This is cut too long, but you probably only need about 8 inches maybe. Got some bead caps that I got from a different strand, a magnetic clasp, some oval jump rings. These would be the equivalent probably of 4 millimeter round ones. I have 2 pieces of chain reaction cut into pieces, 2 12-inch pieces, 2 2-inch pieces, and 2 1.5-inch pieces. In this little tray, I have 2 daisy spacers, 2 small crystals, 2 medium-sized crystals, 2 of the lotus spacers, and 4 of the miracle beads. I also have 4 paddle head pins. Now these are store-bought, but I will show you how to make these at the end of the video. I have one made here. This is the one. You will see that the paddle will not get as large as the one in the store-bought one, but it will work if you wish to make your own. The last thing we're going to need is this little bag, the smaller bag of the Tibet boho bead bundle. And I'm going to use some of the beads out of here, not all. I'm going to use these 2 white ones, these 2 red ones, and these 2 white ones. And the rest we'll put away. Now, when you cut your chain reaction, you're going to have small bits of leftover chain. Don't throw those away. There's another project for use with those. Okay, I've put the things I don't need away over to the side, and we're going to cut this strand now and get the beads I want out of it. We're going to want both of these red beads, one of these, this blue one, and this other little red one down here on this end. And we've set the rest of the beads aside that we don't need for right now. Okay, to start this project, we take the 18 gauge piece of wire and we want the larger side of the small bell making pliers, and we're going to turn a loop over on one side. Very simple. Now we're just going to start threading on the beads we want. I've chosen to put one of these small miracle beads and this crystal in, as well as the ones the other ones I've chosen. So we'll start threading these on. This is where I'm putting the daisy spacer as well. Red one. White one. Come on, baby. Now here's our bead strand, and as you can see I have a lot of extra wire. So I'm going to cut it off, but I'm going to cut a little extra because I'm going to show you how to fix it if you have too much, that you're trying to wrap too much. So we're going to go about right here. Now your next step is to wrap this other side. Make sure that you're wrapping the same way so that your end will stay the same. But as you can see, I've got quite a bit of extra space. So estimate this space and then estimate where it would end up on your and then cut it off. Now you can rewrap and hopefully we'll hit about the proper spot. As you can see, I'm right there. Okay, put these aside. And the next step is simply to bend this to the angle that you would like it best. Maybe a lot of angle, maybe just a little, but whatever you like. So there's that part finished. Okay, now it's time to put the little dangle pieces together. So we need the paddles, and if you've decided on your pattern, you can put that together. I've decided on a red one, the lotus, and a white bead for this particular pattern. The other pattern, I'm going to use crystal and the red beads. Now when you're making these, when you do your wrapped loop, you've got to be careful that you don't over tighten, because the paddle has that sharper edge than a head pin, and it will break your bead if it's too tight. So now we're going to do wrapped loops on these. Just grab it, bend. Get your bend around, roll, and then spin this around. Now, if you prefer to use your fingers, that's fine. You don't have to use your pliers. I prefer to use my pliers, especially with these, because the paddles are a heavier wire, and so they're hard to maneuver by hand. Just tuck that wire in. There we go. There's the first one done. Turn this over so I can get this last little bit tucked. And let's make sure it's straight. It's pretty straight, except for it's not straight with the paddle. And we do want it to be straight with the paddle, so just twist it around some until it's a little straighter. There we go. 2 down, 2 to go. Now this is the one with the crystal, so we need to be very careful that we don't over tighten this one so we don't break our crystal. I don't really think there's enough wire left on the paddle to actually over tighten it, but just to be on the safe side. Can't emphasize that enough, that if you tighten it too much, you will break the bottom bead. Come on, baby. Tuck that last little bit. And again, our paddle is not the same weight width as the other, so we're going to grab the paddle and twist the top. Go. And the last one. Come on, Rose, get the right plier. Over, roll, hold at the middle, and pull her around. Oops, this one's going to be a toughie. It's always got to be a stubborn one in the bunch. Okay, in a way, I'm sort of glad this one decided to be a stubborn one, so I can show you how to straighten these up when they do things like this. First of all, you'll want to take hold of and just sort of straighten that. As you can see, it's mainly straight now, but not quite. the ring wants to be a little crooked. So just take these pliers, put them in, and roll it slightly to the side that it's giving you problems at. And there we have it. Our last paddle is done, and we're ready to put things together. Okay, now that we've got all the pieces made, we're going to put this together. So we'll bring back in our little pieces of chain. This is the 1.5 inch pieces, and here's the 2 inch pieces, and our jump rings. And then we're going to put one white and one red on either side. And the next step is to decide which color is going to be the shorter and which is going to be the longer. I have decided that the red will be the shorter and the white will be the longer. And now we need to put them together. So get your chain nose pliers and your curved chain nose pliers. Grab a jump ring. These are oval jump rings. I prefer oval jump rings because the split is here on the side. And because the weight goes to the top and the bottom, it's not as likely to lose a piece. So we put the 2 pieces on here. Close the jump ring. This one feels like it's not quite coming in close, so just ease with some forward pressure and wiggle it back and forth till you feel it come close. There's one. Now we'll do the red one. Come on, baby, don't slide on me. Okay, did we get it tight? Looks a little open, so let's take our pliers and just sort of go across that bridge to squish it closed. Okay, there's 2. Now we'll put the other 2 together over here on this side, opening to the top. And always remember, when you're opening and closing jump rings, you should always do it with a twisting motion rather than a pulling apart. And close in the same manner with a twist. Okay, this one's pretty close, it feels like. That's good. There we go. All the pieces are together. The next step is to add the dangles to our base bar. So again, we want to use some oval jump rings, small oval jump rings, or like I say, if you want to use rounds, that's fine. You'll need the 4mm size. I'm going to start with our longer one because we want it on the interior of the base. So pick up the base piece, we'll slide this through and tighten her back up. Let that one slide down. Get the next jump ring, on you. Smaller one. Put it through the hole. These holes on the chain reaction on the components are pretty small, and that's why I say to use the small one. Drop this so that it falls down to the base. Go on top of the other one so that you're in the back, so it's going to be on the outside, and then tighten. And we have one side done. Now to do the other side. The longer one first. Onto the base. Tighten that jump ring cup. Now the second. I love these little balls at the end. It really breaks up the look of the chain some. Okay, remember that one had slid over to the other side, so watch for that because you want this on the outside of it. And if it was, you were to put it on when it was over there, it would come in on the inside. So check to see where that first one is before you add the second one. And there we go. We have the base with the two bars. Oh, now this one slipped over, up and over. Okay, and there's the base with our two bars in place. Dangle on either side, and that's what that looks like now. Next thing is to add the side chains. Okay, let's bring in the side chains and put those on. I'm going to use, oop, it's a little twisted. Check that and fix that if possible. I'm going to put the one with the two links to the bar so that the one with three links goes to your back of your neck. So we need some more jump rings. Now when you put these on, make sure that those two are to the bottom down there, because you don't want these, you want the chain to be on the top. There's one side on. Oop, we're getting twisted together here. As you can see, I've got these so that the chain for the top to go around your neck is on the top here, and the two dangles are down here on the bottom. Now let's do the other side. Remember that you want the one with the two pieces. Pick up the dangle, make sure these two pieces are over here. Put that on. And attach it. And there we have the back chain put on. Verify everything's in its proper place. And the last thing we need to do is put on the clasp. Okay, all straightened up here. And we're going to use a magnetic clasp. I like them because they're easy to get on and off. However, you got to watch your magnetic clasp. You've got to make sure that your clasp is strong enough to hold what you're stringing. Otherwise, if you lean forward or do anything like that, your necklace the clasp will come undone, and you'll lose your necklace. Okay. Now, if you don't get these quite right on here, it feels like you got it crooked, that's fine, because it's a magnet and it'll slide around into where you want it to be. All right, now we're done. As you can see. And there she is. I'll put it on a bust for you after a bit. We're gonna go on to the next item that I was telling you I was going to show you. So we'll set this aside for right now. Put her over here. Okay, remember how I told you not to throw those little bits of chain away? Here's some of the scraps. Here are some more of the red beads and crystals like I used in the one dangle, and I've already put it on the pin. There's 2 of them. And some ear wires and some little jump rings. Now we're going to make these into earrings to match our necklace. So just do our usual loop here. And boy, did I get that crooked. So just take your pliers and straighten her up a bit. And then do your wrap. This one's going to be one of those types. Remember, this one has the crystal on the bottom, so don't over tighten your wrap. I don't think there's enough on this particular paddle of wire to over wrap, but that's okay. Just a reminder, because if you get it tight, as I said, you will break your crystal down here on the bottom. Let's straighten this up. And they're not quite even, so there we go. See, as you can see, that's a little crooked still, so there we go. Put that one aside, make the second. Come on, wire tuck. Okay. Now we've got those done. We'll grab our jump rings. Wrong plier, I suppose. Add them to them. And now we'll put these on the ear wires. Now I use lever back ear wires because I don't like to lose my earrings, and a lever back makes a sort of cage around your ear when it's in. See, it's a relatively long earring, but it's really pretty. So anyway, there's the cage. Open and close your earring like that. Oop. And now the earrings are done that match the necklace. And then we were going to show you how to make a paddle pin. Like I said, the paddle will not be nearly as big on a homemade one as a store-bought. I think the manufacturers must have a little bit of a fatter piece of wire there where they terminate their wire to make the paddle at. But in order to make this, you need your bench block. This is a 22 gauge piece of wire. Excuse me, it's a 20 gauge. I would use an 18, but they're a little hard to wrap on an 18, so a 20 isn't too bad. So then all you need is to put the end of your wire on your bench block, hold it with your finger over on this side. You need a metal hammer. This is my Impress Art hammer. I probably shouldn't use it for this, but I do. And then just sorry for the noise. Turn it occasionally because it's going to twist on you otherwise. See, mine is twisting a little bit anyway. And then when you've got about what you want, take a little piece of either a file or a sandpaper. You can ease this back a wee bit with your fingers. Because it's a little warm. Okay, I tend to just use a piece of sandpaper and then just sand the ends until you round them a little bit and they don't feel sharp to your fingers. And there's one paddle pin. Thank you. Okay, now that we've finished our project, I've grabbed a bust. You can see how the necklace and earrings turned out. And I hope you enjoyed this project. Hopefully we'll see you again sometime soon. Bye-bye.